welcome back to the No Rain, No Flowers podcast. I'm your host, Gracie Henderson, and this is where we just talk. And yeah, I might get an intro eventually, but for now it's just gonna be me saying that over and over again. But yeah, here we kind of just jump right into the episode. There's not much of an intro, but today I'm going to be talking all things love. The last episode was more about loving yourself, and this one is just going to be more about loving other people, mainly significant others, and knowing if you're ready for that. So I always hear people saying that they want to be in a relationship and or they want a significant other, because they either see someone else who has a significant other or a couple on the internet, or they know someone who has a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they just feel like it's normal, or they feel left out if they don't have a significant other. Because they spend so much time trying to find that one that they are not able to focus on loving themselves or getting to know themselves because they're just so focused on wanting that relationship. And there's a difference between wanting a relationship and being ready for a relationship. If you are constantly focusing on wanting a relationship, you're coming from this place of lack. And this is with anything in life. You come from a place of lack, you will never get that thing. You're saying to yourself, oh, I'll only be happy when I get this. But in reality, you need to be happy before you get that thing, or whatever you believe in, God or the universe is not going to grant you that thing because therefore you're coming from a place of lack. Or it's not going to fulfill you because it won't be the dream relationship you're quote unquote looking for. Because you're telling yourself, oh, when I get this, I'll be happy. When I get this, I'll be happy. Because you also have to learn to love yourself before you're going into that relationship, which I talked about in the last episode. And it's not like you have to be 1,000% confident in yourself before going into that relationship, because then you're never going to be ready for a relationship. But you have to have that foundation of self-love. Because if you're unhappy with yourself, lacking confidence or motivation, or you have physical problems, mental health issues, you should not be looking for a relationship. You should be focusing on those things, and they should be the forefront, because you can't just push those things aside and think that a relationship will make you happy. Because even if you don't know how to love yourself or make yourself happy, you're not going to be able to love someone else and make them happy. Because there's two sides to a relationship. It's not just you trying to get happiness for yourself. You can't go into the relationship thinking, oh, he's going to do all the work or she'll do all the work, because you have to try to make the other person happy too. And also, going back to what I said before, if you're like dealing with stuff before going into a relationship, if you have anxiety, like I have anxiety, and I don't know about you, but when new things come into my life, into my environment that I'm not used to, that just spikes my anxiety even more. So if you're adding a relationship of a significant other into your environment, that's just not gonna work for me. It's gonna make me even more anxious, and it's not gonna be good for the other person. So I need to work for me. If I was looking for a relationship when I'm really struggling with anxiety, it's not gonna end up well, because it's just gonna spike my anxiety more. Because your health and your mental health and your well-being and where you are at in life needs to be your focus. Focus on becoming happy and learning to love yourself and be confident before chasing that thing. Because yes, there's going to be seasons in life where you're going to be focusing on you, and you might be not as social with people, but then there's going to be seasons where you're ready for a relationship and you can focus on other people, but you need to pick one. You can't be in the middle. If you are in that season where you're struggling with your mental health or with all those other things, you should, like I said, make that your number one priority. But it doesn't mean you can't chase after your goals. And I'm not saying you can't chase after your goals in that season. I think that is actually the season where you should be chasing after your goals, is when you are working on yourself. But you need to stop saying to yourself, oh, once I get in that relationship, I'll be happy. Once I lose the weight, I'll be happy, or I'll be fulfilled. Once I get the car, then everything will be better. Once I get the money, I'll start donating to a charity. Because if you're not already happy before, you're not going to be happy when you get those things, because those are short-term fulfillment things. Like I said, you're coming from a place of lack, of where you don't have it, and you're not being grateful for those things. And you need to be consistently grateful, or you're not going to appreciate those things once you get them. Because you're always going to be looking for more. You're going to get the nice car, and then you're going to say, well, I want a nicer car, I want more money, and so on and so forth. Because there's no one thing that is going to make you happier, that's going to fix it. It's like those magazines or videos that you see on the internet where it says, take this one pill, lose 20 pounds in a month. Do this one thing, buy this one thing, do this one thing. Because people are so impatient nowadays, they just want this instant gratification fix. And it's with all things in life. It's in relationships, losing weight, making money. People just want everything right now. So people saying, I want to be happy right now, right now, right now. But ask yourself, is that relationship even going to make me happy? Because love needs to be an addition to your life. The person you are dating or talking to should be an addition to your life. It should be addition to your other relationships that you already have. Because you do not settle for someone who is not going to love you as much as the people who are already in your life. That's why you need to learn to love yourself, because then you know the love that you deserve, because you get that love from yourself and the friendships and the family you already have in your life. If you don't love yourself, then you're just gonna settle for subpar, or maybe even worse than that, someone who's gonna not treat you well, because you don't know your worth. So if you have a crappy partner but you're so desperate, you're just gonna settle for who knows what. Because for me, my family and my friends, I see how much they love me, especially my family. Like, that is a very big part of my life. And if you're not gonna treat me how I know I should be treated, with the love and worth that I desire, get out of my life. Get out of my life, because you are not an addition to my life. So if you're just settling for that person, I honestly think you're just desperate for the attention and the love, which isn't your fault, but it is your problem if you don't have those people in your life already telling you how much you are worth. Because if you don't hear it enough, I want you to know that you are worthy and you deserve to have a good relationship, and not someone who's just going to be subpar. So for me, one thing that I struggle with when it comes to romantic relationships is feeling like I have to go into a talking stage with that person. And let me preface this, you need to go into a talking stage. You need to have a talking stage before having a relationship. But what I am referring to is sometimes I will force myself to go through it with that person. So here's an example. Say there's a guy and we both have feelings for each other. We both think each other is attractive, yada yada. And so the next logical move would be, okay, we're gonna go into a talking stage. And if you don't know what a talking stage is, it's literally what it sounds like. You're talking to the person, getting to know them before you want to either start dating or be boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know. But just getting to know that person. But the last multiple encounters I have had, last talking stages I have had, their personalities are just so boring. We have no connection, and it does not feel like an addition. It feels like a chore, and it feels like a burden, and it feels like an obligation. I feel like I have an obligation to them, which I don't, which is what I'm struggling with, because in reality, it's not like we have kids and a house and a dog and that we're in the same friend group, and I'm worried that I'll see them at work because it'll be awkward when we're both getting coffee. Like, no, I don't have any of that. I'll maybe see them in the hallway at school, or maybe not even. Maybe we don't even go to the same school. So why do I feel that I have an obligation to this person when we've only been talking for like 2 weeks, you know? Just a guy that I had a short talking stage with that I can end at any moment, and it's not going to affect me. What's going to affect me more is if I keep the talking stage going and it gets further and I have to end it eventually, and I'm just wasting time. So that for myself, I know is a red flag when it feels like someone's asking me to go mow the lawn when I have to go talk to this person. Of course, if you're in a serious relationship, there's going to be times where it's going to be hard, and there's going to be things you don't want to do and things you have to work through, but that's not what I'm talking about. A relationship needs to feel like you're adding something to your life, not like you're adding another chore or another burden. You should be looking forward to talking to them, looking forward to hanging out with them, and being with this person. And if you feel reluctant, like I do a lot of the time, you need to take a step back and say to yourself, is this an addition to my life? And there's been times where I've been in talking stages in my life and they'll ask me to hang out, and I'm so reluctant and I don't really feel like going. And that right there should be a sign for me to be like, Gracie, do you really want to be in this talking stage? And sometimes if I'm in a talking stage and they're like, oh, you want to hang out, and I'm reluctant, then it's like I just need to go and then I'll have a good time. But sometimes it's like, I don't even like talking to you. Do you really think I want to hang out with you? So that's where I'm at with that. Yeah. Like, you could be super attractive, but if we do not have a good conversations, what is the point? What is the point? Because when I was younger, I was in like middle school, I was lucky to have a pretty serious relationship where the communication and the conversation were just amazing. And I genuinely wanted to talk to this person all the time. And I felt like we had so much to talk about, and the conversations we have, I felt like we're very mature, and especially for our age, because it was pretty much just like conversations. It felt like I was talking like to my best friend, and I think that is what needs to be one of the bases of a good relationship. But also, one thing that was like bad about that relationship, there was what about that anyways, was I was obsessed with him. And when we broke up, it was just so crushing because I was putting all my time into him, and I had never practiced self-love, and I was not putting time into myself or my friends, and I was putting everything into that relationship. And so that was one of the things that next time being in a serious relationship, I need to still focus on myself and still make time for my other relationships, which is very hard, I know, for a lot of people. And like I said so many times, that is why you need to love yourself, because if you don't know how to love yourself, like I didn't know how to love myself before that relationship, it just crushed me. I was like, what do I do? What do I do, you know? Because when I was in that relationship, it was good. It was a good first relationship, you know? But it wasn't this hookup culture that it is today, where you talk for a couple of days and then they're like, oh, you want to hang out? And I'm like, no, I don't. Because this is seriously what, I will give you a little snippet of what the conversations sound like. The relationship, not even relationships, the talking stages that I've been in. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. Just chilling. Cool. And that's it. And I'll try to ask questions, I'll be like, what sports do you play? You know, because you can't start out a talking stage being like, what are your hopes and dreams? You know, and I'll be like, what sports do you play? And I'll be like, oh, I play football and basketball, and that's it. That's it. No, oh, what sports do you play? Or, yeah, I play this position. Or, like, you gotta give me something. Like, please, I just need something to work with. Little flour, little butter, little dough. Like, give me some ingredients. Gosh. Anyways, that's my little rant about what it's like dating teenage boys nowadays. If you were wondering, you know, just a little day in my life. One thing I want to talk about is there's a difference between real love and love bombing. And what is love bombing, you might ask? Oh, I would love to tell you because I have a fun experience with it. Very fun, very fun. Because I have experienced this in romantic relationships and friendship relationships. So, let me read off what I found from physiologytoday.com, basic love bombing. The term love bombing refers to the pattern overly affectionate behavior that typically occurs at the beginning of a relationship, often romantic ones, in which the party love bombs the other over the top display of adoration and attention. This behavior can include showering the person with gifts and or compliments, declaring love early on in the talking steps to remain in a constant contact and spend increasing amounts of time together. Love bombing is considered a deliberate and manipulative tactic that is deployed in order to gain the upper hand over a partner and increase his or her dependence on the bomber. Because of this, often attributed to individuals who are high in narcissism or other antisocial traits, or those who engage in domestic violence. It has also been frequently used in a reference in cults. However, it is possible for someone to engage in similar behavior without narcissistic having ill intentions. So, to put it into my words, is excessive compliments and I love yous and gifts early on in the relationship. And notice they said cult relationships. Oh, another topic, another day. So, if you're wondering, here's some examples of love bombing. Wanting to know everything about someone right away, sharing their personal details too quickly, needing consistent validation, intense declaration of love, pursuing you to commit, saying all the right things, over the top excessive gifts, immense jealousy when you are with anyone else, things just felt off, and sudden coldness or withdrawal. So you might be sitting here thinking, what's wrong with someone giving me compliments or being nice to me right away? Love bombing, whether it is on purpose or an accident, is narcissistic. It is used to gain the upper hand in a relationship and have that power and be able to take it away at any minute. So people can do this in romantic and non-romantic relationships, and they'll make you feel so good and so special and like you're quote unquote good. And without them, you weren't good before, and that need their love, that you need their love. And when they take it away, you're just broken. But then they'll come back sometimes and just act like nothing ever happened and just keep doing it. And like they said, it usually happens early in the relationship, like when you start getting I love yous or excessive compliments, and you're just like, oh, okay. And if you're in a talking stage with someone and they give you compliments or gift giving, that's great. Or if you've been in a long-term relationship and you're just known to do those things, but it's when it's early on and excessive. Here's the thing, when you get into a relationship or a talking stage, you know little to nothing about this person. So the fact that you're telling them you love them isn't true, and you're making them feel that way. You're telling them you're the most beautiful person I've ever met, or you're just the best. Like, you've only known me for a month. Or I can never imagine my life without you. And if someone's telling you they love you a month into the relationship, how do they know if they love you? Because real love comes through trials and tribulations and going through hardships with that person. And unconditional love is loving someone no matter what. You love them if you're mad at them, if they're dressed up, if they're dressed down, if they succeed, if they fail. You love every part of them in their life. And you cannot define unconditional love in a month. I'm sorry, you just can't. So when someone has said they love me in the talking stage, I immediately get the ick. I'm like, nope, not doing this. No. So to wrap it up a little bit, the next time you're thinking of going into a relationship or a talking stage, I hope you can think of this episode, or maybe even listen to it again, and apply these things. And hopefully if you do these things and learn these things, you could have a long-term relationship and get rid of all the nonsense relationships and just have more time for yourself. Because ultimately, we all want to be happy. I want to be happy. I hope you want to be happy. So getting rid of those unnecessary talking stages or relationships is just, I feel like, gonna help you so much more, because you're gonna know, like, do I really want this in my life? Do I really want to deal with this right now? And I think that's good, because we don't need to have all these past relationships and talking stages. Like, having experience is great, but you don't need to spend time on these unneeded relationships, which can sound harsh, but I'm looking out for you, obviously. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Like I say every week, I really appreciate the people who come back and listen to the episodes again. So if you could give it a like or a rating, or in the Q&A you can put what do you want to hear, whatever. And in the show notes you can go find my TikTok, you can find my Instagram. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week, and thank you for listening.